What's up, dudes? Happy post Valentine's Day. I hope you guys all enjoyed yourself yesterday. I did absolutely nothing. I went to the gym and trained back because every day is Valentine's Day, so it doesn't matter if there's a special day for it. I enjoy my time with my wife every single day, so it doesn't matter if it's Friday or Saturday or Sunday. This Sunday we'll go out to dinner and spend some good quality time together, while everybody else get their obligatory day out of the way, and then all the romantic places are completely vacant for us to enjoy. And Thursday I also went out with my wife and a good friend of mine. So you can't go out too often, especially when copious amounts of foods and maybe a little bit of whiskey is involved. All right, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are not watching the Fuad Abiat's podcast or Sam Sulek competing. That's all occurring at the same time. AREN is competing in a few hours, so I'll check in on Instagram to see if there's any updates around the end of this podcast or this live stream, and then I'll give you guys a little bit of an update on how AREN is doing or Sam Sulek is doing. Let's see what comes to the forefront on Instagram. All right, let's start with a couple updates on my end. I'm sick, as you can probably tell from my nasal voice. My cats were sick for a couple days. We had to separate them and took them to the vet and stuff. So they're now finally over their little bit of a upper respiratory infection, sneezing all over the house. Obviously, you know, cats are to sneeze wherever they please, including when you pet them on your chest and then they sneeze in your face. So I guess they gave me their diseases. So today was the last day of recording of the How to Get Your Wife Pregnant video. So when you watch that video and you get to like 2 hours and 10 minutes, and then you watch that last 30-minute segment, then I might sound a little bit like this. So my sincere apologies, but I had to get it done. So next week I focus on the methylene blue deep dive and the Bathmate plus DHT gel video, which I'll probably do first because methylene blue I still need a little bit more time to research. So my editor is working on the How to Get Your Wife Pregnant video that will be almost a 3-hour behemoth. I don't know what happened, but it was 80 pages. 80 pages of notes and citations and stuff, but it will be the best video for people who are thinking about conceiving after taking anabolic androgenic steroids on the YouTubes, besides the excellent podcast that Huberman did for about 4 hours and a couple podcasts that Peter Attia did, which I've linked in the description field. So plenty of research material. Once that video dropped, do me a solid, even if you're not interested in fertility, just give it a watch, play it in the background all the way through for 3 hours, because that helps with the algorithm, and I need a little bit of ROI. So, you know, if you only get 3,000 views, that's going to break my heart. I know it will collect views over time, right? This is one of those timeless videos that is evergreen and will always contain views, but I would like, you know, 10,000, 15,000 views in 24 hours once it drops. Maybe not even next week, but the week after. I think my editor's about 1 hour into the video, and we have, well, 2 hours, maybe 40 minutes in total. Yeah, so do me a solid, watch that one. Even if you're not watching it, just let it play in the background when it's live. I'll keep you guys posted on when it's supposed to go live. Couple updates about the gyno. Gyno's all fully healed. A little bit of scar tissue. It's getting a lot less. You can see like a little bit of bumps and lumps in the bottom, but it's significantly less than before. Slight scar here in the bottom, so that's all going well. I'll do a little bit of a quick update video next week to help promote with Rotterdam Hospital, as you know, a good influencer should. So there'll be a separate video regarding my gyno updates on Instagram next week. And I need you guys to think a little bit with me regarding the Follistatin experiment. So initially the plan was to, I just posted it in the chat as we're talking about it. Initially my plan was to do a month on YK11 oral, but take it sublingually. Or first epicatechin for a month, and then a month on oral YK11, but take that sublingually, and then let's say 2 weeks on Follistatin 344. But I also have injectable YK11, so what I want to do is the epicatechin that I have, the epicatechin, whatever, the extract is from not tea or coffee, oh no, not coffee, chocolate, but from some sort of plant extract, some herbal extract. The capsules are 200 milligrams, but they're 90% extract, so you get 180 milligrams epicatechin per capsule. So I wanted to start with 2 weeks at 1 capsule per day, 180 milligrams epicatechin. That seems to be already an effective dose to increase follistatin levels and reduce myostatin levels. Then double the dose for the next 2 weeks. So the first month in on epicatechin or epicatechin, whatever, however you fuck you pronounce it. It's been 5 minutes, so we can start swearing. However the fuck you pronounce it. 2 doses, so that's 360 milligrams over the day. Then switch to oral YK11 through the conventional route for 2 weeks. Then switch to oral YK11, but take it sublingually, which is what I did in the past for 7 weeks. Right, so 30 milligrams per day in both servings, but we do the oral version through the intestinal tract, and then we do the oral version, the sublingual route, and then 2 weeks of injectable YK11, simply because I don't have enough. I don't want to run injectable YK11 for an entire month. Otherwise, I'd have to increase my stock. But I think it's, if I do like 6 weeks on YK11, oral conventionally, oral sublingually, and then injectable, right, sub-Q, because it doesn't seem to have any localized effect. So I'll just do 30 milligrams between all of these, and then switch to Follistatin 344 for 2 weeks. So instead of doing a 4-month experiment, I'm compressing it a little bit into 2-week segments. 2 weeks on low dose epicatechin, 2 weeks on high dose epicatechin, then 2 weeks on oral YK11 conventionally, 2 weeks on oral YK11 but taken sublingually, then 2 weeks on injectable YK11, and then 2 weeks on Follistatin. I still haven't decided yet. I have enough to do 1 milligram per day, which of course would be probably the highest possible dose you could take. So I'm not against running that experiment, 1 milligram per day. I still wasn't able to find a clinic here in Thailand which can actually check serum follistatin or serum myostatin levels. So it might mean that I will not be able to do comprehensive blood work between every single change. At least I'll do some blood work as frequently as possible to see how my body is changing. Obviously, my follistatin levels or follicle stimulating hormone levels will be absolutely bottomed out because I'm on testosterone. The testosterone dose will be 2 ampules bare test of iron per week. So that's half an ampule Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, for a total of about, let's say, 625 milligrams testosterone intake per week, because again, these ampules are overfilled. So half an amp gives you about 0.65 milliliters, aka 156 milligrams testosterone. Then with your guys' approval, since my legs have absolutely fucking disappeared after doing the surgery and not being able to train legs for a while. I trained legs today for the first time, so I might end up cramping my hamstrings. It's scary, dude. I have 7 holes in my legs after removing the plate. I have no pain. The ankle mobility is back. No bruising. All the inflammation is gone, or most of it. But today I trained legs, and yeah, I don't know. It's mentally scary. I had no pain, no issues. I'm not going to do leg extensions or leg curls. Or not even hip thrust, because that feels a little bit weird. But I did leg press. I did what did I do? I did a adductor machine. I did some sort of hack squat. I did like 3 exercises for calves that went totally fine, and then stiff leg deadlifts and some abductor work in the machine. So that all went well. As long as I do some sort of pressing motions against my heel, then it should be fine. But extensions and curls, maybe the follistatin increase will increase bone recovery. I haven't gone to that research part of the experimentation yet, but maybe it does. We'll do an X-ray somewhere around end of March to see how the recovery is going, and if those holes are closed, then I can start doing light leg extensions, which I'll save towards the end of the workout. So I'll keep you guys updated. So what I wanted to do is just do about, let's say, 625 milligrams of test per week. No aromatase inhibitor. I think my serum estradiol levels will be about 130, 150 picograms per milliliter, which is tolerable. And since I got the gyno surgery done, I don't think that there's any risk of developing further gyno. I mean, these guys were very meticulous and cut away everything that could potentially form into gyno. And I did excessive liposuction in the breast tissue, so everything is already gone. So I don't mind running 600 milligrams of tests per week without an AI while I'm using epicatechin to see what the response is. Maybe there's some AI effect there as well, who knows. Then switch to YK11, then switch to injectable YK11, and then Follistatin 344, and keep doing my blood work in between. But on leg day, I want to take maybe 5 to 10 IU's growth hormone. So I know that will influence the results. So let's see. I would train legs twice per week, right? Monday and Thursday will be a push day. Tuesday and Friday will be a leg day, with the best intensity I can possibly do, followed by a growth hormone shot of 5 IUs or 10 IUs, depending on what you guys want. And then Saturday we'll be back. Now, today I trained legs because I'll start training. Let's say I do back twice per week now because, again, the leg workouts are a little bit wishy-washy. And then I'll start training legs vigorously from the start of March. So that's 2 weeks from now. Yeah, 2 full more weeks in the gym. And then from the start of March, when I start these experiments, then I will train legs twice per week. So give that some thought. 5 AUs to 10 AUs growth hormone. If you guys don't want me to take it, then I won't take it. But if you guys are okay with it, I think as long as it's consistent, testosterone, growth hormone, no AI, and then switching between all of these follistatin increasing compounds, finishing off with follistatin 344 at the maximum dose of a single vial per day. I think that's going to give me some significant gains. And then we can also see how that affects overall body composition and what the best route is going forward regarding expense versus results. But again, adding in the growth hormone would add to the results. So let me know what you think. Let's see, what else do I need to cover? Oh yeah, we have another research paper between me, Timothy Piatkowski, and a few other research helpers. So first we did, you could try this compound, but it might send you nuts. How steroid suppliers perceive the underground market and their hybrid role within it. It's linked down below. We published that in July 2nd, 2024. And this year, Timothy Piatkowski, myself, Adam Bradshaw, who also lives here in Thailand. So we have 2 independent researchers living here in Thailand contributing to this research paper, which is titled Anything But Androgens, How Image and Performance Enhancing Drugs Consumers Manage Body Composition and Health Through Off-Label Use of Medicines. It's an interesting read. Again, the full publication is linked down below. I don't think I'm going to make a separate video about it, but there's a couple more research papers and scientific evidence in the pipeline, which we'll make a separate video for. So if you're interested, citations are down below, and enjoy that read as much as I did enjoying contributing to it. Let's see. So after the How to Get Your Partner Pregnant video, which I'm done recording and I'm done editing, basically, it's just up to the editor. After that, I'll start preparing or finalizing the methylene blue deep dive, which I got about halfway through. But I'll probably, depending on how fast my editor is done with the How to Get Your Partner Pregnant video, I'll probably do the Bathmate plus DHT protocol in the meantime to have more time for the methylene blue deep dive, and then we'll do the cerebrolysin deep dive. So stay tuned, a lot of cool content coming. And with that, my nose is already stuffy. Oh my God. Let's see. Let's get started with the questions. Adrian Tans, most shredded guy in the chat. Not for long though, because I'm dieting as well, and my shreds are returning, bro. I'm coming for you, Adrian. Daddy Steve, I love movies. Likewise. Top movie picks from an old fart. Studio 54, great movie. Boogie Nights, great movie. Basketball Diaries. I don't think I've watched that one. I watched White Men Can Jump, but I don't think I've watched Basketball Diaries. I'll add it to the to-do list. Starship Troopers, I mean, that one is legendary, obviously. Pet Sematary, also legendary. American Werewolf in London. I think I've watched American Werewolf in Paris, but not London. And Elysium. Yes, thanks for the suggestions, American Werewolf, and now I want to watch Boogie Nights again. I can see it in big neon letters, Dirk Diggler. And then after the Bathman and DHD protocol, you could star in Boogie Nights yourself. If you know, you know. Skull asks, Steve, should I donate blood? Testosterone levels are 1500 nanograms per deciliter from 150 milligrams testosterone cypionate weekly and 500 IOs HCG 3 times per week. Hemoglobin is at 15.6. That's totally fine. Hematocrit is 54.1%. That's totally fine. Iron is at 63, milligrams per deciliter. That's totally fine. And mean corpulus hemoglobin concentration is at 30.4. That's also totally fine. So no, you gotta juice a little bit harder before you need to donate. And even if you juice a little bit harder and you just take, something like methylene blue, telmisartan, enalapril, IP6, whatever, even though your AREN is pretty much in the low end of the range, then no need for IP6, but telmisartan and allopurinol and methylene blue separately, not in combination, should be more than enough to keep your complete blood count parameters in range on TRT plus ATG. Now I'm really clogging up already. I'm not sure if this air conditioning is a good idea. Well, we're going to make do with what we got. Handicapped Steve. Firelight asks, I followed your advice in injecting 10 AUs of growth hormone generic from China 2.5 hours before drawing bloods. Growth hormone came back at 37 nanograms per milliliter. Thoughts? Trash, send it to me. I'll take care of that Chinese generic for you. I said you, I believe actually it's very good results. Better than what I got. I got 32, 34, 36 in the last couple of tests with this exact protocol. So that's totally good, man. I believe you said it should be over 100. No, that's with intravenous administrations. Now, you didn't specify if you did 10 IUs growth hormone intramuscular, sub-Q, or intravenous. So if you did 10 IUs growth hormone intravenous, it should be off the scale, because 2 IUs growth hormone intravenous 5 minutes before drawing blood will give you approximately 80 to 100 nanograms per milliliter. So 10 IUs through the laws of multiplication should give you, and I don't know 80 times 5, 400 to 500. Should have done that. 400 to 500 nanograms per milliliter, but that's way beyond the detectable range. So, and if you did sub-Q, it would probably be around, I don't know, I haven't done sub-Q tests, but it's probably like half. So it would have been, what, 39 or 19 or something like that. IGF was 70. Been pinning 3 IUs daily. Can't seem to get IGF-1 up. 500 milligrams LR3 doesn't seem to make much of a difference. Yeah, I mean, when you look at the studies of children taking Increlex, in order for their serum IGF-1 levels to come up slightly, they need to take milligrams, not micrograms. And, if you inject like 1 milligram Increlex, obviously it will shoot up within the time window that you're detecting it. But I mean, if you really want your IGF-1 levels up, you need to run 10 IUs per day for multiple days in duration, not 3 IUs and then suddenly do 10 IUs. So it's not the end of the world, though. Right? Then otherwise take stuff out that is known to lower your IGF-1 levels, like berberine and like curcumin C3 complex, like metformin. Maybe you have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Maybe your estradiol levels are low. Right? There's all compounding factors that help with the maximum amount of IGF-1 production in the liver when growth hormone is present at supraphysiological dosages, but there's also a good amount of medication that can bring that down. So, do some research and see what their root cause is and make the appropriate adjustments. Noxu asks, did stem cells 3 months ago to heal 3 partially torn tendons in my shoulders? MRI shows no difference. Might have gotten scammed. Is surgery the only option? I would have told you that a partially torn tendon should have been surgically reattached. Stem cells, PRP, TB-500, BPC-157, I've mentioned this 1,000 times already on the live stream. It's not going to make your tendons reattach. If you did reconstructive surgery, then it's going to help. But if you didn't do surgery, like those tendons, when it's torn like this, and it's hanging on by, like, these fibers are all separated, and this is how it's hanging on. You think PRP and stem cells in BPC-157 and TB-500 is going to make it go like this? Come on, dude. No, of course not. You need to have this surgically attached, tightened, and then the healing peptides can just, make this all work together. Why do you think I did the surgery and the stitches and the surgical tape to put everything nicely together on my nipples and my here and on my leg, and then I threw the kitchen sink of recovery aids at it? Imagine if my wound in my leg was open, 15 centimeters long, and it was just kept open. Do you think it's just going to magically grow? That happens to Wolverine and some other mutants, but not to us, dude. So no, you haven't gotten scammed, but they should have told you to do surgery. It needs to get back together, and then you can use the healing protocol. If I do surgery, will I get full range of motion and strength back afterwards? Yeah, if you do physical therapy, obviously. It highly depends on, how extensive your surgery is. If they need to make all kinds of incisions on your shoulder and remove or displace muscle, and then it gets complicated fast. And again, I'm not a surgeon, but in most cases, like, dude, I couldn't walk for 2 weeks, right? My foot literally was like split like this because of all of the inflammation in my leg. And then I just did active rehabilitation after the surgery to try to get my ankle mobility back. And then all the blood kind of settled in the bottom of my foot. And now that inflammation is gone. So, yeah, the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe even 2 months is going to be hell. But as long as you're proactive and you do the rehabilitation work to improve your mobility, then the range of motion and strength comes back. And again, the strength is mostly related to the muscle mass. The tendon, once it's healed, it should be stronger than your muscle. And again, if you start doing racing and high contact sports or, dangerous stuff with your now compromised tendon, then that's obviously risky. So again, be careful and baby it and be careful because, I tore my pec one time, didn't need surgery, but I had a little black and blue and a little bit of an indentation now. It took me years before I got over the roadblock, before I felt comfortable doing really heavy chest workouts again, because I just felt scared. Like, what if it's going to tear again? What if I'm going to injure myself and take myself out of the gym for another, 3 months again? So yeah, Tens of Steel protocol after surgery, currently natty. Yeah, or you can watch the updated gynecomastia surgery video, which contains everything that is relevant for surgery. Doesn't matter if it's gyno surgery or tendon surgery, it's going to work. Can I use dihydroberberine instead of Jardiance? How much dihydroberberine? I never looked into dihydroberberine and how it compares to sodium glucose type 2 inhibitors. So I wouldn't know. Hey, Steve, Jiz asks, hey, Steve, do you recommend starting at a low dose and increasing throughout the off-season cycle? Currently, I'm using EQ Test and Deca. Would it still make sense to increase over time with the long half-lives, or go at it in full tolerable dose from the start? No, build your way up. Start low, build your way up, so your overall drug exposure is less for the exact same amount of results, because you don't need much in the beginning, man. It takes a while for your metabolism to pick up, for your nutrient partitioning to pick up, for your strength to pick up. And it doesn't matter if you throw 3 grams at it or 500 milligrams, the results are going to be the same. Really. The results are going to be the same. So you get the most out of 500 milligrams, you go to 750, then you go to a gram, then 1.5 grams, then maybe 2 grams, right? As you increment with a percentage, so the jumps in milligrams can be bigger because you're also more muscular. So let's say you increase with 25% or 50%, whatever you prefer, 500, 750, then 1,100 milligrams, then 1,700 milligrams and 2.5 grams, right, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'll leave that up to you, whatever you feel comfortable with, in whichever ratios you feel comfortable with, because if you do a gram of Deca and a gram of Test and 500 EQ, then you probably need an aromatase inhibitor, and your dick might not work. Start low, build your way up. Barbarian asks, does T4 need to be included when running T3? It kind of depends on the dose of T3. So if you're doing a replacement dose of Armour Thyroid, like a couple of grinds per day, then that's already included, right? You have a low dose of T3 and a complementary dose of T4, which ultimately gets converted into T3 as needed. And then you space that out over the day. Now, if you take 100 micrograms T3, I don't think you need T4. If you take 50 micrograms T3, I don't think you need T4. If you take 25 micrograms T3 is a replacement dose, and that shows in your blood work that your thyroid stimulating hormone levels are still in range, and you combine that with exogenous growth hormone, then maybe 50 micrograms T4 to allow the conversion of T4 into T3 as needed by the increase of deiodinase enzyme activity, which is being stimulated by growth hormone. That's what I've always done. 12.5 micrograms T3 plus 25 micrograms T4 in the morning. Then again, in the afternoon, unless I would take high doses of growth hormone, then I would take it all before bed. So I would take 25 micrograms T3, 50 micrograms T4, and let's say 10 IUs growth hormone before bed. Again, if you combine it with growth hormone, especially the higher dosages, that prevents the catabolism, and it seems to potentiate some synergy when you take these kinds of thyroid medications around the same time. You take a bolus shot of growth hormone, but if you do multiple shots of growth hormone, let's say 2 AUs per day before fasted cardio, and then again before the workout, and then again before the bed, then it's probably best to dose your thyroid hormones morning and evening, because again, the bolus dose of growth hormone at night is not that high, and then otherwise the thyroid hormones would keep you awake. So no thyroid hormones being present at high concentrations, lower dosages of growth hormone, which should still allow you to fall asleep. Man, it's going to be a rough one. Commission asks, do I generally want iron and iron-related blood markers to be towards the top of the reference range? I think middle of the range is okay. And again, you have to look at your complete blood count, your hemoglobin, mean corpulus hemoglobin concentration, that kind of stuff. Iron is contained within hemoglobin, allowing for oxygen transport in the red blood cells, obviously, so you can oxygenate your body. And it also helps with neurotransmitter synthesis. All those guys that say that they want to have bottomed out iron levels, they're usually a little bit kooky because their neurotransmitter synthesis is a little bit fucked, to put it mildly. So middle of the range is okay. Depends on how much iron you eat, how much you absorb, how much vitamin C you take. If you take methylene blue and adipral terbinafine, which doesn't help with iron metabolism, but of course allows for more iron storage in ferritin instead of the hemoglobin, because it brings your complete blood count parameters down. And then if you take EDTA chelation therapy once in a while, that takes all the iron and the rest of the minerals out. So multiple ways to address it. Scroll down a little bit. Let's see if you guys commented on my idea. King David, everything else equal, how much more muscle do you think somebody on 250 milligrams test a week will be able to build? Dude, it's so individual response and individual work ethic. So I built on my first cycle of 250 milligrams tests, I gained maybe 5 kilos in like 5 weeks, and then I started cutting, and then I was like 4 kilos heavier than my previous weights doing a natty cut. So instead of, what was it, 70 kilos, I was 74 kilos, drier and leaner and harder. So initially 5 kilos up, and then I kept 4 kilos, albeit in better condition. So let's say 5 kilos, but that's only in a 5-week caloric surplus and then a 13-week, 16-week deficit. So again, it depends on so many things, man. But you should be able to build significant amounts of muscle mass on 250 tests. And then, depending on you and how crazy you are, if you're not happy with that muscle mass, you up the food, up the training intensity, and you up the dose, and then you're just like me, you know. Juicy, online steroid daddy, yes. Sean C. All right, let's see if there's a question later on. Lots of checking. Bossman, why can't 5-amino-1-MQ be used to break stalls? Actually, that's the whole point. To use 5-amino-1-MQ to break diet stalls. Maybe 6 to 8 weeks and then 6 on and then 6 to 8 weeks off. I'm 6'6", starting at 480 kilos, currently 265 pounds. These last 30 won't come off. Yeah, so if you feel that the last 30 pounds are not coming off because you have too much nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide recycling within adipose tissue, and thus metabolism within adipose tissue is not optimal, allowing for normal adipose or fatty acid release from adipose tissue, then do it. Start it. 50 milligrams, 3 times per day, 150 milligrams in total. And if the last 30 then still don't come off, then it's not a nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide and a fat metabolism issue within your fat cells. Maybe you just need a diet break. Maybe your metabolism is now reduced. You can check your basal body temperature to see if that's less than being at 480 pounds. Maybe your hormone levels crashed, right? You went from 1100 nanograms per deciliter in your total testosterone to 300 nanograms per deciliter because you've been dieting so long. Maybe your sleep isn't optimized. Maybe you're eating more calories than you actually think you are, and you need to reduce it further. Maybe you're getting less active. Start tracking your steps to see if you're getting more sedentary as your body weight was going down. And sometimes, you kind of need to yo-yo on the way down to keep going, because sometimes you're just stuck. It happens, man. It happens. And 5-amino-1-MQ could be a godsend and help you with that, but it could also be that erythrocyte helps you with that instead of the 5-amino-1-MQ. Unfortunately, both are expensive, so it really depends on your finances. Are you starting to cramp, dudes? Oh, no. Oh. No leg day before Vigorous Q&A. So yeah, look into multiple options, but just give it a try. Give it a try to really get down. And then once you stall on 5-amino-1-MQ, maybe then you need to build your metabolism by boosting your calories for maybe 2 to 3 weeks. And then you try it again, you know? So, and otherwise hire a coach, man. That's what they're there for. You know, if you can't do it by yourself, those last 30 pounds, then just hire a coach and you'll be happy that you did. King David is thanking Mjolnir or Roldener. Are there any benefits in getting liquid chromatography mass spectrometry compared to a standard reading for testosterone and estrogen if you're only using testin-4? No 19 or testosterone. If you're numbers fiend, if you have no issues, just check your levels with CMIA, like chemiluminescence microparticle immunoassay. But if you have like issues with your libido, then yeah, liquid chromatography mass spectrometry or tandem mass spectrometry, the high sensitivity tests, might be beneficial to really pinpoint what's going on. But I've analyzed so much blood work results, whether that's CMIA, LCMS, or LCMS-MS, a tandem MS. I treat the patient. I treat the problems. I don't treat the numbers on paper. I use the numbers on paper as an indicator. But dude, people with beautiful blood work parameters can still have libido issues. And people with absolutely terrible blood work parameters might have no blood work or no libido issues. So identify the problem, see if more expensive, more detailed, high sensitivity testing would be beneficial to you. But honestly, I've done it with just conventional tests because again, the LCMS stuff or LCMS MS stuff is not available here in Thailand. And I was able to fix all of my problems and other people's problems just the same. But again, if your numbers feed, do the high sensitivity stuff, and then you get more accurate results. Hey Steve, male, 46 years old, here with lower back herniated disc. Do you think BPC-157 TB-500 10 milligram blend with CJC-1295 per ml 20 milligrams blend is a good idea to help heal it, or should I not bother? You should not bother, because a herniated disc, again, like I mentioned before, the herniation will not magically retract back into the spine. So instead of spending your money on BPC-157, TB-500, and growth hormones or secretagogues, if you're losing weight and doing personal training already, then buy an inversion table to kind of decompress the spine. Buy one of those reclining racks so you can also decompress the spine without having all the blood rush through your face and turn yourself into a full-blown tomato. And then once you decompress the spine and loosen it up a little bit, maybe do acupuncture, maybe do, what is it called? Massage therapy to kind of loosen up all tight adhesions, and chiropractic work. I think that is going to be way more beneficial, and learning how to use your back so it doesn't herniate again. I think that's way more beneficial than throwing these kinds of medications at it, because I've heard so many stories of people trying to use medications and then saying it didn't work. Because again, the herniation or partially torn tendons or relationship issues, it's not going to fix your marriage, bro. It's not going to fix structural issues. For structural issues, you need structural diagnosis and structural interventions. And that could be surgery or chiropractic work or inversion tables, or in your case, also losing weight and doing PT. Because as soon as you start strengthening the muscles around your spine, then obviously that will prevent improper use of your spine, which then prevents herniation. What is this currency? Try. Turkish lira? Turkish lira, 1100. Oh, that's a big pump. Let's see. I wish they would convert it all to US dollars so I know exactly how much people are sending me. $30, dude. I hope you get your money's worth. $30, that's a lot. You know, that's like in Turkey, that's like 5 ampules of Bayer Prima Ballen. Maybe one meal at Nusser Et before it gets so fucking expensive. So yeah, thanks so much. I hope you get it solved. But again, structural issues need to be addressed with structural interventions. And once everything is better and you feel that a herniation might come up, then you could use BPC-157 and TB-500 preventatively. If you want to use CGC-1295 and ipamorelin, uh, and maybe if it's a blend, right? So what would be the total? 200 micrograms to 500 micrograms once or twice per day. If you want to use that for anti-aging purposes and sleep quality before bed, go for it, dude. Go for it, dude. But I think at this point, the BPC-157 and TB-500 are not going to help. But the growth hormone secretagogues should be helping you with losing weight and doing personal training. Let's see. 20-year-old. Uh-oh, here we go. Can I cruise and test long term? Only PCT when I want to have kids, or do I have to come off before the next blasting crude? Fertility is the only concern. Well, you're in luck, because next week or the week after, you will have the most comprehensive video regarding fertility for people taking anabolic androgenic steroids. If you're 20 years old, I think it's way too young to start using steroids, but you're probably already using steroids. And from a safety and efficacy perspective, I would say that you can be on test long term for as long as you want. You can even get your partner pregnant if she's reasonably young while using testosterone and HCG. So you should do PCT or at least use fertility medications, which I will discuss in the fertility deep dive when you want to have kids. But dude, you might not be completely azoospermic. So do a semen analysis, see where you're at, then add in the HCG based on my recommendations from the HCG deep dive and the video that I'll drop in a couple days or in 2 weeks. And then, and again, you might not be azoospermic now because exogenous testosterone might be able to initiate spermatogenesis by permeating into the testicles. So it doesn't matter if it's intratesticular testosterone coming from luteinizing hormone or human chorionic gonadotropin or exogenous testosterone. And if you're at a loss for words, then, well, you started exogenous testosterone replacement therapy way too young. That's on you, not on me. I knew exactly what I was getting myself into when I was 26 years old. But yeah, I think TRT is reasonably safe, especially at cruising or TRT, HRT dosages. And if you do blasting and cruising, then, do your blood work frequently to make sure that you stay healthy. And add in some HCG, man, if fertility is a concern. Back hustle. Hey, Daddy Steve, can I pin growth hormone sub-Q the night before the morning, before my fasted blood test? No, it's already metabolized by that time, but IGF-1 might still be elevated. Will it have an impact on hemoglobin A1C levels? No, that takes 3 months before that's impacted because hemoglobin A1C is the glycolated, or glycated? What was it? Glycated. Hemoglobin A1C is the glycated. That's what the C stands for. Glycated hemoglobin, meaning that the hemoglobin reacted with glucose in the bloodstream. And that since hemoglobin is contained within the red blood cells and then slowly being released, obviously, it's basically a 3-month average based on the active life of red blood cells being approximately 90 days. Sometimes they live up to 120 days. So it's a 3 months average. So a growth hormone shot sub-Q the night before fasting growth hormone testing. Growth hormone is metabolized, so it's useless. Hemoglobin A1C will not budge, and your IGF-1 levels will be elevated, assuming that your growth hormone is legit. But I would still advise you to pin growth hormone at whatever dose you want to use for at least a week before checking serum IGF-1 levels, and then do 10 IU's generic growth hormone intramuscularly into the shoulder 2.5 hours before checking your serum levels. While you're at it, right? If you're already at the labs, might as well check everything. And then check your growth hormone levels in serum. It should be 32, 34, maybe 37 nanograms per milliliter. And eventually I'm going to have to blow my nose. Dolmatov, good evening, Steve. My growth hormone for use daily IGF-1 from 172 to 305 nanograms per milliliter. Nice work. Gives me elevated heart rate, 24/7, about 15 points. Does it go back to normal a few days after I stop it? Daily fasted cardio. Daily fasted cardio. All you guys that run growth hormone that say that that it elevates your heart rate, you're not doing your daily fasted cardio. So that's my solution. I hear this so often, and it doesn't matter how many times I say it. Daily fasted cardio fixes all your heart rate issues, even on retatrutide or clenbuterol or other stimulatory fat burners, because you train your heart to, have a lower resting heart rate. Blue Collar Bodybuilding, what's up, bro? Definitely add Deer Hunter from Martin Scorsese. It's a great movie. Yeah, I watched that also. Great freaking movie. It's an oldie, but a goodie. Absolute good movie. Sammy the Storeman. My wife is a wuss and doesn't like injecting into her shoulders. Will the joint support supplement from AA work systemically if she injects sub-Q into the glutes? Yeah, that should be able to work. Yeah, like all that stuff, once you inject it, it all goes systemically. So whether those are, joint support formulas with the essential amino acids and the glucosamine and that kind of stuff, or something like BPC-157 or TB-500, yeah, that also helps with systemic healing. Albeit it would be better that you inject it as close to the site of injury. Now, I'm not sure what her injury is, and otherwise you do her shots for her, man. I mean, an insulin syringe is, pulling up pubic hair is more painful than using an insulin syringe. So, if it's a 1 cc shot, obviously it's a little bit more annoying, and you would definitely be able to see that on the shoulder of a woman. But so just injected sub-Q in her glutes or upper quads, and then over time, hopefully her shoulder injury would heal. Again, if it's a partially torn tendon, surgery, and then apply, the peptides. Lavandula, welcome to the Vigorous crew. Pack Hustle, been cutting for 2 months, 190 to 175 pounds, around 30 and 40% body fat, aggressive for last month, aggressive in the gym, aggressive in the bedroom, aggressive in the road, aggressive leak cutting. I don't know. Single digit body fat before bulking. Aggressive. Okay. Thoughts on zero carb rest day every other day? Facebook? Split? How long to take your hip before cycling off? You can take your hip the entire way through until your lower back is a little bit flabby, albeit lean, and you're uncomfortable with that water retention in your lower back. Then you cycle it off, and then that water retention will go away in 1 or 2 weeks. I would run your hip or revulsine all the way through if you have issues with getting your lower back lean. Zero carb days, go for it. It will drop your calories. And if you want to go a little bit more aggressive, then, you can do more cardio. That kind of stuff. So yeah, it's all good, man. Just as soon as you start noticing that your training intensity goes down, then you might have to discontinue it, because training intensity needs to be sustained throughout the entire time that you're dieting. Otherwise, you get leaner and smaller. You end up looking like a swimmer, bro. What hormone should a man check that is experiencing anorexia? I have no idea what that is. A partial full loss of smell. Oh, anosmia. What is this? Anorexia. You guys think I'm a doctor? Anorexia, a type of sexual dysfunction. It is persistent or recurrent, the inability to achieve orgasm despite adequate sexual stimulation. It is more common with women and men. I don't know, dude. I don't even know if you can determine that with blood work. It might be a neurotransmitter imbalance or sensitivity balance. Maybe you should stop touching your penis for like 6 months to remove the scabs and scarring and all that stuff from chronic masturbation. I don't know, dude. This is not what I'm, this is a channel about performance enhancing drugs and how to enhance orgasms. So Semax, PT1 for 1, oxytocin, Cialis, DHT sublingually or topically, they can all enhance your orgasms. Having a hot wife also helps. Eating in a caloric surplus all the time with copious amounts of healthy fats helps tremendously. I mean, my libido was fucking insane during the off season. So I don't know, dude. Sorry. I don't know. It's not something I've ever experienced. So please check with a sexual function specialist. But I don't think that it's a hormonal thing. Could be mistaken, but I've done a lot of fertility medications or fertility consultations and never talked to anybody that had such an issue. Thoughts on heart frequency for enhanced people since MPS. What are all these fucking abbreviations, man? MPS, upper, lower, full body splits. I don't know, just go to the gym and train hard. I don't even fucking know what you mean. You guessed my exact cycle plan when answering my question. 1 gram of test, 1 gram of deca, and 500 milligrams of EQ. You're welcome. Yes, I know my shit. From experience, running EQ at half the testosterone dose keeps my EQ in a good range, but I'll be checking with blood work. Yeah, because you're throwing the dick at it, and then your aromatization potential goes through the roof. Because androlone is a metabolic intermediate in the conversion of testosterone into estradiol. Yes. Fuck, dude. I was on 500 test and 500 deca and 150 EQ, or 150 MENT, and I ended up 122 kilos. So, I don't know, man. I don't think you need that much, assuming you're eating a lot. Intramuscular, Steve. Yeah, the question is, it's ages ago. So if that was about growth hormone, then you did it the right way. I can't remember. We're not gonna scroll through the chat. Make sure you include it when you ask questions. Got any secret for dodging the creation of protein farts? Got lactose-free diet through the more diet. Though the more protein I eat, the more I shoot cataclysmic air out of my butt. Evening and night is a nightmare. Save me. Okay, so you're fermenting something in your intestinal tract that could be protein, but could also be carbohydrate sources. Fast for 1 or 2 days. See if the farting is still occurring. Maybe do a stool analysis to see if there's any gut dysbiosis regarding what is it called? The biotics that can cause a lot of fermentation of certain food, and maybe do a food allergy test. Maybe the protein powder that you're taking is just subpar. Maybe you need to remove that. Do a food elimination diet to see which of the foods are causing you massive protein farts. And it's usually like, let's say I eat a lot of garlic, right? Or a lot of onion. Onions, farts don't really smell that by themselves. But then if I have onion with egg, and the onion is causing all this gas, and the sulfur from the eggs is leaking into the onion gas, and then you fart, and then it smells like volcano, obviously. It fucking leaks out there like a lava stream, and then everybody around you is completely, toxic and murdered. Probably lost monetization by saying murdered, but that's YouTube. Can't say murdered or killed or self-deletion. So, YouTube reviewer, be nice. Give me my fucking AdSense money. Where was I? Okay, so figure out which foods ferment and remove them from your diet, and maybe do a food allergy test and a stool examination to see which of the bacteria or foods could be the culprit. Yeah, I've 0 farts now because I did a food allergy test, and it's like, here's my wallpaper. You can't eat. Well, never mind. Can't eat egg whites and yogurt and cashew nuts and pistachios and casein protein and cheese and almonds and butter and Brazil nuts and flour and gluten and rye flour. It's like basically all the good stuff I can't eat. Sucks, bro. But I stopped snoring and I stopped farting and I stopped being bloated. So at least it helps. I guess nobody cares if I took 10 IUs of growth hormone with my Follistatin experiment. Well, just going to do what I want then. Coach, is pre and post training insulin use making much of a difference on growth while using growth hormone for synergy if you have good insulin sensitivity? Yes. It's a big fucking difference. And if you have great insulin sensitivity, then you don't need much insulin. Maybe 2 IUs to 5 IUs for a carbohydrate meal from 50 grams of carbs to 100 grams of carbs. Dude, insulin is a huge game changer for most. It's certainly a lot more or a lot cheaper than using IGF-1 Increlex or IGF-1 LR3 or IGF-1 DES, or using Richardson to help with insulin sensitivity. So insulin cheap as fuck, and it puts size on you like nothing else for the amount of money that you spend on it. So if you have growth hormone, if you can afford that, add in a little bit of insulin post-training first. Buy the insulin ebook. It's linked down below in the ebook section. 25% off. It's only $75. It will teach you everything you need to know about how to use insulin, and you will not have an episode of going hypoglycemic in any way, shape, or form, right? It does have a little bit of a prerequisite. You need to get your insulin driver's license, and you can purchase that in the form of the insulin ebook. It's called the Comprehensive Guides to Responsible Insulin Use. There's no other insulin driver's license on the planet just like it. I've been doing some of that on Right on Track. Okay, that's good. You had MENT in the e-tayer in the roundtable. Where would you have it now that you run it? I've been microdosing it. I'll add 2 milligrams a day to more TRT. What do you think about that? That's pretty low, but TRT is also low. So 2 milligrams per day is what, 28 milligrams per week? It's 14 milligrams per week. Start low, build your way up. So I used it with YK11 and Anadrol and fucking copious amounts of growth hormone and Increlex. So I'm not entirely sure what did what. I can tell you that I did feel really, really good on that cycle. Yeah, I was in a great mood. I was really strong. My estrogen levels were high, but not super high because of the YK11 potentially acting as an aromatase inhibitor. So I literally threw the kitchen sink at it. And I felt anabolic as fuck, dude. I was 221, 222 kilos by the end of it, 265 pounds. And it was way too big for me. It was not pretty, but I was super strong. Yeah, I had a great time. So I should add in the, what I was thinking? Maybe after this Follistatin experiment with epicatechin and YK11 and Follistatin 344, maybe I'll go back to the test deca and MENT cycle because I did feel so good. My joints feel absolutely amazing. Besides at the end of the YK11, which I'm sure my joints will feel a bit creaky once I start doing the YK11 again without decadurabolin in the picture. So I might switch to 500 test, 500 dec, and 150 mint, run that solo with growth hormone, and then doing cutting phase with that. To protect my joints while I'm cutting, to stay motivated while I'm cutting, because on a stack like that, I'm obviously way more watery. So it takes longer for you to look cosmetically pleasing, even though I'm cutting now, but I won't cut super hard while I'm using this Follistatin stuff. So start cutting really hard, and then keep fullness, keep size, keep joint lubrication and strength in place, and also keep the motivation to get as lean as possible, because if I do like Test, Tren, Primo, the Anavar, and Masteron, for example, then obviously you get a lot less water retention, and by the time you're 8% body fat, you're like, that's good enough. It's good enough. Oh, they're shredded, bro. Good enough. So if you're on Test, Deca, and MENT, and you're bloated as fuck with growth hormone in the picture, then obviously I'll feel more motivated to come down to 8%, which might be 6% at that time, because there's a giant film of water, so it makes you look worse. And then you need to diet a little bit harder and further before you actually start to look nice. And then maybe switch to Test and Primo. I don't know. Let's see. We're already planning the entire year full. It's only February. And the middle of the year when my daughter is born, I might change my mind on all of this shit. I'm like, fuck this. Can't do this anymore, man. Fuck. Most growth hormone I've done is 3 IUs per day. Should the next move be 4, 5, or 6 IUs? G is better for bulk or card, doesn't matter. No, growth hormone is for any scenario. Go to 4 IUs for a couple of weeks, go to 5, go to 6, whatever you can afford, and where you start to notice side effects. But going from 3 to 6, that's a guaranteed recipe for water retention. But if you build it up slowly, then your body can kind of adjust and reach some sort of homeostasis within 3 to 4 weeks on being on that particular growth hormone dose. Like what I did, I was off growth hormone while I was traveling, and then I did the gyno surgery and stuff, right? And then I threw 5 IUs growth hormone at it. Dude, my ankles were like a balloon. But I also wasn't doing cardio because I just had the leg surgery. So, or I had the gyno surgery, but the elliptical felt a little bit weird. So I did like the elliptical for 2 days, which isn't even enough time to really get into this zone of doing daily fasted cardio. And then I had the LASIK eye surgery and the leg surgery, so I haven't done cardio since. I'll start that next week. But when I added in the growth hormone at 5 IUs per day, before it would give me 0 water retention, but then starting from 0 to 5 IUs, bloat city, dude. So start low, build your way up. It's the same for every compound. And if you start high, then you'll probably be met with side effects that you need to manage, and then you need to come off, and you go through this roller coaster of micro adjustments, and you have to ask me through a consultation or somebody else. So yeah, I'm preventing you from making mistakes, which also makes it a little bit boring. All right, super sticker. I'll keep my eye out for your question. Zigzag. Should I delay starting TRT until after surgery to avoid anesthesia complications? Last time the surgeon said I was hard as fuck to keep sedated. Yeah. Yeah. Or you opt for not doing general anesthesia like I did. I was awake for the gyno surgery and the leg surgery and the LASIK eye surgery. Steve, how can you do that? Well, I've had enough trauma in my life that even LASIK eye surgery, where they shine lasers in your eyes and you're being cut open with a knife and stuff, it's not as traumatic as the stuff that I went through. So yeah, I'm scared as fuck for general anesthesia. So I discussed with every doctor if no general anesthesia was okay, and they're like, yeah, sure, we'll give you some morphine or fentanyl to keep you calm. So I got what 50 micrograms fentanyl for the gyno surgery. It's like, oh my fucking god! Now you can scratch that one off the list of the drugs that I've taken. Morphine I've had before for previous surgeries. I can't remember what the dose was, but it was enough to kind of keep me calm. And then yeah, and then they go to town on your body. It sucks. So yeah, I would avoid starting TRT if the surgery is going to be multiple hours on end. And again, discuss it with your doctor, because the doctor is or your anesthesiologist is the one that keeps you under. And if they don't know what you're doing, you're taking some sort of compound that prevents the metabolism of your anesthesia or speeds it up, then yes, you'll have complications. So be fucking honest. And if you don't feel comfortable being fucking honest with your doctor, come to Thailand and don't give a shit. They love it when you're honest, especially when you tell your anesthesiologist he's too pretty to be an anesthesiologist. You're way too pretty to be an anesthesiologist. What are you doing here? And they give you a little bit extra. Sorry, you're so cute. Here's some extra morphine. Here's some to take home. So no, 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 ma'am. No, 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 don't want to be a morphine zombie. Mind is everything. Any advice for reducing face bloat while on a cycle of testosterone, anavar, masteron? Any advice for burning feeling on cycle? Burning feeling all over the body and provoked by spicy food or hot temperature at onset of sweat. I know. How much MSG are you eating, bro? I have several videos about how to reduce facial bloat. It basically has to do with controlling your serum estradiol levels. Also has to do, but it test anavar and masteron should keep your levels low. If you eat, sodium at a consistent level, your water intake is consistent, you shouldn't get facial bloat. But if advice for burning feeling on cycle sounds like you're getting tremendous for fuck's sake, tremendous systemic inflammation. I've been saying oxidative stress the entire day recording the fertility video. Tremendous systemic inflammation from the carrier oils that you're injecting, and that I also have a video on. So if you get a burning feeling on cycle, it might be gonorrhea, or it might be the carrier oils making you feel like you have flu, basically, all over the body. And if you eat spicy food, how does that work again? It's probably aggravating the inflammatory state that you're in. And hot temperatures, onset of sweat. So change your brand. Check your serum estradiol levels, keep your sodium intake and water intake consistent, and don't eat like a fucking pig, obviously. You can well, my face is not streamlined. Maybe in a couple of weeks when my diet is even better. And if you're a member, you don't need to donate on top of that, bro. Yeah, you're a member, you ask your question, and then you don't need to donate again. Save that for next month extension for the Vigorous Q&A membership. Hey, Steve, thoughts on this cycle? Turn test, 140 Primo, 140 Anavar per week, so that's 20 milligrams per day, 150 IOs HCG per day. I would do 500 IOs every other day, or 3 times per week, and 4 IOs growth hormone currently in the off-season. Yeah, more HCG for testicular function, 500 IOs, or at least 325 IOs 3 times per week. To sustain testicular function, 500 IOs will give you super physiological testosterone and estradiol synthesis. And that means that your primo dose might need to be bumped up to 200 milligrams as well. Looks fine to me, dude. It's 280, let's say 500 milligrams of steroids in total. And if you eat well and train hard, it should be enough to make some serious gains. Again, AREN 112 on a range of 65 to 175. Ferritin 78 on a range of 21 to 265. Transferrin over the reference range. Total iron binding capacity over the reference range. Incomplete count, everything is good in range except red cell distribution with 14.4. Which is slightly out of the range. Any reasons of this to be concerned? No, that this looks like a moment in time. Like transferrin and total iron binding capacity can fluctuate quite a bit, but the red cell distribution with it could mean that you just came off or just started a cycle where the difference between the smaller red blood cells and the bigger red blood cells is skewed based on the average. So the distribution between the small and the big ones is larger at 14.4%. That's the range. It should be up to 13.7. And that usually happens when you start or stop cycles. So now in this case, I would not be worried about it. Just keep track of it and see if transferrin stays chronically elevated. You know, yeah, ferritin could fluctuate quite a bit, man. So no, I wouldn't worry about it. King David, do you have any advice for somebody who is just starting to try and make money in the fitness industry? Whore yourself out on Instagram as much as you can, and YouTube and all the other platforms, because the more you're present online, the more potential customers you'll create. And again, it's a numbers game. So the more followers or subscribers or whatever else, however it's called on different platforms you have, the more potential revenue you generate. And stay true to yourself, man. Because we have enough retarded and redundant influencers already. The large majority of them are don't gain an ounce of respect, but they might get some viewers and make some quick money because they're acting like degenerates. And if you want to go that way, be my guest. It usually doesn't last long. Those guys usually self-destruct after a while. So if you want to do it, if you want to do the long con, then stay respectful. Be careful who you associate yourself with. I'm talking from personal experience. And make sure you enjoy yourself, man, because right, you could make the content that might give you a lot of views and make you a lot of money. But if it doesn't make you happy, then what's to be the point of being self-employed? Then you might as well work for somebody else. You know, you're going to be happy disregardless. So I just make the content I want to make. I make sure that I monetize as hard as I can from the smallest audience I have. Which means with this audience being at 140,000 subs on YouTube and 80,000 followers on Instagram, and we're going to go multi-platform. I'll let you guys know where we're going to end up. With all of the content that I've already produced, in case my channel gets wiped again. Then don't worry, you'll be able to find my content on all the other video platforms. All right, with that, you know, you'll be able to hire people and then, you know, help out on the back end and then start making more and more and more money. But it probably means that you work the first couple of years for free, right? I worked for free for the first couple of years on social media while I was giving my advice away for free. And then I still had to do my coaching job. And again, making money in the fitness industry, you can do that through coaching, through personal training, through supplement promotion, affiliate sales, OnlyFans, membership sites. There's a million different ways to make money, dude. You know, ebooks, whatever you prefer, whatever works for you. I've tried it all besides OnlyFans, and luckily for me, most of it ended up selling to a good amount. When getting blood work done, when should you stop gear usage? Would you drop everything? Vitamins, methylene blue, DHA? No, when you get blood work done, you continue everything you were taking to get an accurate representation of where your blood work is on cycle running all of these supplements. So I don't stop shit. I continue all the way up till I do blood work. And then when I go in for blood work, I might do a shot of growth hormone or testosterone or HCG if I want to check my levels, you know, a little bit later. But I don't take any of my supplements because they might alter particular blood work parameters. So I take my supplements afterwards. Yeah, so you don't stop anything. FB is full body split. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. All these abbreviations. LBGTQ XYZ. Confusing, bro. That's an SR9009 for sleep circadian rhythm. Yeah, well, not for sleep, but if you take it in the morning, especially after long flights, I found that the combination of SR9009 at 30 milligrams with 50 milligrams modafinil prevents you from having any kind of, what is it called? Jet lag. Yeah, and then you take that for 2 or 3 days, and then you're completely readjusted to the new time frame. Unfortunately, every time I travel, I don't do that, only when I come back, and then I still need some time. PS, multiple protein synthesis. Guys are way overthinking and undertraining. Yeah, it's a common problem, dude. Welcome back to the member circle. They instead of going to the gym and having a good time, they overanalyze everything and read the logbook, and they're like, after 6 years, they're like, "Why am I still small?" And they look at me and they're like, "What the fuck is wrong with this guy?" So I train with trauma, bro. Fuck you, fuck the logbook. I'm here to rape weights, chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum. Eduardo, R dollars. What is an R dollar? Or US dollar? Is it a ruble? I don't even know what its currency is, but it's 100, so it must be a lot. Eduardo, master, slow down, slow down. Not yet. On 100 milligrams a day of testosterone annotated only, 700 milligrams weekly. I was taking aromasin every 3 days. Fucking small pill, yeah. Fucking, I don't know what Pfizer is doing, but you need a tablet cutter, right? You can buy those on Amazon for like $3 or $1 over at AliExpress, and it probably delivers faster than Amazon nowadays. So you take those fucking small pills of 25 milligrams, and then you put it at the end of the tablet splitter with the razor edge, and then you smash that bitch into halves, and then you take that every 3 days. E2 is fluctuating from 82 to 25 after a few blood work is done, depending on how long after the AI. What's the cookie cutter rule of thumb for Arimidex? Oh, Arimidex. Dosage. I got 0.1 milligrams pills now. So 1 milligram Arimidex is pretty equal to 25 milligrams aromasin. So if you're taking half an aromasin every 3 days, it's a full pill per day. Then you would basically take 1 milligram Arimidex per week, or 1 milligram. Yeah, so one pill of 25 milligrams aromasin per week. If you're splitting that every 3 days in half, assuming you're doing it in half, then that would equal 1 milligrams Arimidex per week. Jeez, fucking Christ, it's getting late. This flu is starting to get to me. It's affecting my brain. 1 milligram Arimidex. 1 milligram Arimidex over the week. So that would be 0.5 milligrams Arimidex every 3 days. And if you want to start with 0.1 milligrams every day, resulting in a totally weekly intake of 0.7 milligrams, I think that's a pretty good place to start. And then you check your serum levels 4 weeks into that. So if you get your 0.1 milligrams, just take 100 milligrams testosterone annotate daily plus 0.1 milligrams Arimidex daily, and then recheck again in 4 weeks. At least the intake was consistent and should give you stable serum levels for an accurate reading on your blood work results. And sorry for fucking up so much. It's been a long freaking day. Yeah, but I'm trying to hang in there, guys. No egg whites or yogurt. Yeah, man. So I don't know what happened. I don't know which god is supervising the planet right now, but he's a cruel one. It's like from 1 month to the next, the god switch rotation, and this guy's like, Steve, yeah, let's give him like a food allergy of eggs and yogurt and all the other foods that he loves, and then let him suffer through it for 6 months before he figures it out. You know, it's not a Christian God that would do that. Well, I don't know. If you read the Bible, it's pretty fucking brutal also. Revenge porn. I went to a Christian school. I know all about it. Steve, I increased my estradiol and 1 milligrams Arimidex every day. Recovered. Okay, now I'm 150 tests, 40 milligrams VAR, 5 milligrams Cialis. Libido is better, but not like before. Any supplements or pharmaceuticals to help? Add some healthy fats to your diet. and add some HCG to your diet, because HCG will help bring your estradiol levels up, bring your SHBG levels up, produce all the intermediary hormones that are shut down by taking exogenous testosterone, so androstenediol, androstenedione, esterone, all that intermediate stuff that you don't think about, pregnenolone, DHEA even. So 500 IUs HCG 3 times per week for 2 weeks, and feel free to bump that up to 1,000 IUs HCG 3 times per week. And then ideally recombinant HCG, not urine purified HCG, as I mentioned in the HCG deep dive. And then boners galore, man. Boners galore. Hey, Steve, just made it to the live stream. If a 1-to-1 ratio of test to EQ put my estradiol below 15, what ratio would you recommend for test first? I test first for testosterone, like my estradiol 40 to 60. I would start with a 1-to-1 ratio also, and then adjust based on blood work, because masterone, in some individuals, it doesn't lower estradiol levels at all. It doesn't seem to impair aromatase enzyme activity. So if you don't have any experience with masterone yet, then start in a 1-to-1 ratio. Let's say 500 test, 500 masterone. Check your serum levels of testosterone and estradiol 4 weeks into it, and then make an adjustment. Like EQ itself and several of its metabolites have very potent aromatase inhibiting effects. So when EQ itself blocks the aromatase enzymes, it might convert into esterone, which then has an overlapping effect in your estradiol levels. Then 3 of its metabolites, as EQ metabolites into these metabolites, they also block the aromatase enzymes. So you basically get 4 compounds when you take EQ that could potentially block the aromatase enzymes. With primobolan, it's primobolan for sure. And if you use fungi or mushrooms to biotransform primobolan into 2 metabolites, those also have aromatase inhibiting effects, but it doesn't mean that those metabolites are produced when you take primobolan in as a human, right? Fungi or mushroom metabolism is probably different from human metabolism when it comes to methanolone. So, and masterone, we couldn't find anything in the scientific evidence that shows that it acts as an aromatase inhibitor. It might act as a selective estrogen receptor modulator. I mean, it was a cancer medication after all. The efficacy of primobolan and masterone is pretty much the same when it comes to cancer medications, but masterone was used as a cancer medication and primobolan was not, even though it was investigated as a cancer medication. So again, you have to start at a 1-to-1 ratio, do your blood work, and take it from there. You guys talking about cabergoline? Shit is fucking toxic to your heart. Authenticity is the currency of the future. Yeah, I cannot agree more. Yeah, I cannot agree more. I mean, it seems like the last 2 years, like the amount of degenerate scumbags that entered the fitness industry, it's insane, dude. Like, I'm used to it because I live in Thailand. Thailand is full with degenerate scumbags. So they all come from all over the world, and they come here to kind of escape the rest of the Western world and do whatever the fuck they want. So I'm used to kind of stay away from Pattaya and places like that, or Phuket, where it's just filled with degeneracy. And the locals allow it somehow, so I would be a little bit stricter. But yeah, here in Bangkok, it's not so bad. And then I stick to myself, dude. I keep my circle small, and I go to the gym, and I go to some nice restaurants where the degenerates can't go to because it's too expensive. So I'm stopping my way out of that circle. But yeah, it seems that in the fitness industry, Jesus fucking Christ, it's just like, and gyms are now being treated as places where they can promote their OnlyFans. Like fuck, Muscle Factory Patty, that's full with OnlyFans girls. Ugh. And maybe when I was 25, I would have loved it, but now that I'm married, 40 years old with a kid on the way, I can't stand it, man. Authenticity is the currency of the future. I highly agree. I remember I had a long conversation with Joe Stetics a couple of years ago, and he said, like this generation of influencers that are only good at one thing, how to make themselves look good on Instagram, and then at one point they'll lose fame or they won't be popular anymore, and they don't know what to do. They got one skill is to make themselves look good online, which can't be transferred into the real world. We laughed so hard. Fuck, I miss that guy. Fuck, man. Joe was as authentic as fuck. He didn't give a shit. Of course, his Instagram was a little bit filtered to make sure that he kept on his best behavior because he didn't want to lose it. But in real life, that guy could crack some fucking jokes, man. Yeah. T-Flow, we are having a hard time getting my wife DHA levels in range. She's on 100 milligrams DHA, progressively increasing from 25 milligrams, 10 milligrams per gallon, zinc, boron, and other supplements. Any advice is greatly appreciated. So you're checking her DHA or DHA sulfate levels. It could be that she needs to start taking it sublingually, or she needs to go with micronized DHEA patches to promote absorption transdermally. Because some people just aromatize or convert DHA in the intestinal tract. So when you take it orally, it converts it to testosterone and estradiol, and DHA levels are low. So you might need to take it sublingually to prevent the metabolism within the intestinal tract, or take it transdermally to prevent metabolism in the bloodstream before it's, they'll have a different pathway to the bloodstream besides sublingual route. So maybe you can get that somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where. I take my DHA sublingually. And at 37.5 milligrams per day, my DHA sulfate levels are sky high, but I can't check with my DHEA levels. So yeah, try the administration, try to change the administration around and then take it from there. There's no source talk on the YouTube live streams. I have a website where you might be able to get help. Yeah, professional help. Her DHA is 45 micrograms per deciliter, rate is 100 to 300. So yeah, so check your DHA sulfate levels, because maybe DHA sulfates are super, super high, and the reservoir of her DHA is just low at the time of testing. But if DHA sulfate levels are high, so the reservoir is high, but the free-form DHA is low because it either metabolizes very fast or the sulfite metabolism of the DHA is not sufficient. And what do you have to do then? I have a video off the top of my head, I don't know, but look into the steroidogenesis inhibitor video where I discuss various compounds that might prevent the metabolism of DHA sulfate or pregnenolone sulfate, or prevent the production of DHA and DHA sulfate and pregnenolone sulfate. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what it is, but I do remember having a little segment in that video regarding sulfation of the neurosteroids. So it's called the steroidogenesis inhibitor video, with the thumbnail is why you feel awful on particular medications, because medications have overlap into certain metabolic pathways of your sex hormone and neurosteroid production. Girl is using chest fly machine for inner thighs. I do use the adductor machine for chest as well, so can't complain. But one is considerably less sexually appealing than the other. Like for creativity, information recall, and quick wit. I'm trying to get more social, but my body locks up and refuses to recall information when in high stress social instances, like a date with a beautiful woman. Exposure therapy, man. There's no drug for that. Come to Thailand, expose yourself to hot, beautiful women 24/7. You'll have no break, and within 1 year, you're changed. The problem in the Western world is everybody's so stand-up-ish, and some people are kind of rude and that kind of stuff. So come to Asia, you can loosen up, you can relax, you can talk to everybody. It will all have an interesting and easy interaction, and then you don't need to resort to dihexanupept, semaxalank, the fucking bromantane or something like that, to reduce your stress and date with a beautiful woman where you have performance anxiety. It has nothing to do with the drugs. You just need exposure therapy. So I can take myself as an example. Growing up in Holland, you're a little bit socially distant from everybody because everybody else is socially distant. And I always used to work at the grocery store where you're in touch with people all the time and you kind of talk past each other, not into each other, and have a good interaction. And maybe it just was me, shy, young, not really knowing what to say and how to deal with people that are elderly or maybe a little bit imposing or whatever, right? So I was pretty social, but not super social. And then when I came to Thailand when I was 24, within 2 weeks, they all changed because you get no break, dude. Fuck, I went to Phuket for a week and I went to all the nightclubs here in Thailand. You get no breaks. You know, after 2 weeks, you're completely over it because you're talking to people 24/7, and it becomes so easy because Thai people are super friendly. And if you do stutter a little bit and you have a little bit of anxiety and you're stressful in social situations, you'll be over that in 2 weeks. I promise you. That's why Thailand is so great, or Asia in general is so great. Besides maybe Japan, where people are also very standoffish, just like in Holland. I barely talk to anybody in Japan when I was there multiple times. But yeah, Bali, Thailand, Vietnam, dude, people are so fucking chill and easygoing. You'll be talking to people left and right, and then when you go back, there's no stress. And if you have a date with a beautiful woman, it will be easy, man, because you have so much experience. So take the $20 and put it into, well, it's mine now, but for your next $20, stick into some sort of travel fund. And I don't think it's a stack thing because you just get overwhelmed from the nootropics. Try Gorilla Mind Respawn. That's what I take every time before this this podcast, and I'm doing pretty okay. Why would you be stressed when you're going out with a beautiful woman? I mean, she already said yes to the date, so you already got your dick halfway in there, bro. Otherwise, it's a numbers game, man. If she says no or you fuck up, you just laugh it off. And if she's too snobby about it and you know she's like I'm too good for you, okay, you fuck her best friend, man. Fuck off. There's plenty of other girls that you can bang. There's so many hot women in the planet. Why stop with one when you can try them all? Eduardo, oh, Brazilian. At $70. That's still a lot, dude. Thanks so much. I hope my answer was satisfactory. Bronson Hogan sounds like Togi. Guy proves it takes more than just 3 grams of gear to grow. Guy looked worse than it. Yeah, the guy looks terrible, dude. Total fucking degenerate. But you guys remember what's that movie? Uh, American. What was that movie again? Where the guy is in a time machine and then he wakes up in the future and everybody's retarded. It's like it's like that's coming to fruition. Why skip my super chat? Did I miss it? Did I? Wingmaster. Ah, sorry, my bad. Currently on 40 milligrams Accutane, tier 3, 150 milligrams testosterone enanthate. Would adding in 50 to 100 milligrams Deca help for the joints? Yes, but on 40 milligrams Accutane, I'm not sure if that's sufficient to mitigate the negative effects that you'll have on your joints from that much Accutane. Never tried it. On the wait list for gyno surgery, risk with Deca. Yeah, Deca can increase the aromatization of testosterone into estradiol. So if you're on 150 tests and you don't need an aromatase inhibitor, then adding in 50 to 100 milligrams nandrolone might require you to add in an aromatase inhibitor, even though Accutane, I think, had some estradiol lowering effects. You could try to switch the Accutane for liver, 50 grams per day, which also has a lot of retinol vitamin A, which is, basically what Accutane is. It's a synthetic version of vitamin A. I just started taking 50 grams of liver, and my skin is noticeably clearer. Yes, I'm still got acne at 41 years old. It must be the tap water that you can't drink here in Thailand. It's never Thailand. It's all the terrible food that I was eating. So maybe make a switch from Accutane to beef liver, 50 grams per day. Not recognized, but I do know that it can dry up the skin quite tremendously, and it provides a lot of nutrients that Accutane doesn't contain. And then you would still need an aromatase inhibitor on 150 tests and 150 to 100 milligrams a deca. But then you wouldn't have to worry about um, further developing acne, but you might still have to do the gyno surgery. And if you're already on the wait list for gyno surgery, then, well, watch all the videos that I did in the Operation Gyno protocol, where I literally grew my gyno to 2 inches across per side, and now it's surgically removed, and I don't think it will ever come back again. You know? So maybe grow that gyno, have like sensitive nips for like 3 months, and then, but I did 500 tests and 500 deca. Had a good time, man. Holy moly. I was strong as fuck. The master was pretty high also. All right. Where are we? Sorry, bro. I got to it 10 minutes later. Joshua, dude, we need to get a fucking drink. Uh, composure, Steve. Get your composure back. I was just making this. So I did that fertility video, right? And then you go through. Fucking crying, dude. Uh, I did that fertility video, right? And then you overlay like medical graphs of the composition of the sexual organs from men and females, and then we did ultrasounds on my wife, to see if the cervix is too short or too long for the pregnancy and stuff. So it was normal size, and then you kind of look at the graphs and you say, oh, okay, the vagina is this long and the cervix is this long and then the uterus is this long. So I was just imagining like how many vaginas would it take to fill up a mile? Can you imagine how many repetitions in a vagina would you need to fill up a mile? And would you ejaculate before you fill up a mile? Obviously, if you have a 4-inch penis, it would take you more repetitions than a 6-inch penis, but a 6 to 7-inch penis might not fill the vagina fully, and then you're left with an inch of cold space, and then frantically trying to connect your pelvic floor together at the right angles you can. Anyway, but now we're going way beyond what this Vigorous Q&A is meant for. American Pie, no, but Idiocracy is the one, yeah. Yeah, by Mike Judge, the Beavis and Butthead. Terry Crews for president. Yeah, man. Imagine if America had a president like Terry Crews. Rondo. It's got electrolytes. Every time I see a video about Prime or these electrolyte drinks, I have to think about Brondo. Well, it's got electrolytes. It's good for plants. All right, we're at the end of the live stream. Do you have a reference code for Chase Arons' Rita? No, just go to his website. I think he has it for sale there. But I don't have a discount code for Chase because I would not want to have him lose income or give me a percentage of his sales. So if you want to support Chase, by all means, go over to his website, purchase it for the full price, unless he has a discount code for himself to kind of track where the sales are coming from. And all I heard was good results. So you have a domestic supplier in the form of Chase, whether that's carnitine or rituximab or some other peptides. And the Chase Arons Fund for more babies and more home gym equipment is always growing. The Vagine mile times. Actually, I should take Joshua Perry to Anthony's speakeasy in Las Vegas, and then we can get fucking wasted. Talk about 80s movies. uh, all right, let's scroll back a little bit. You may not live long. We're talking about Togi, right? Yeah, Togi. It's a shame, right? Because these guys are pretty popular, and then they always self-destruct. I don't know what's wrong with these kids, dude. But maybe it's social media. I didn't grow up with social media. I never used Tinder or any of these apps. I never used OnlyFans. I started using Instagram as a marketing platform. Um, and dude, don't get me wrong. I went through plenty of degeneracy from 15 years old to 25, 26. Yeah, 25 before I started taking steroids. Like, dude, I partied so fucking hard. And I took all kinds of recreational drugs. And you go to like Isle of Techno in Belgium. You bring your tent, you pitch your tent for 3 days, and you're high as a fucking kite for 3 days, and still bang chicks in in the tent. Where you have to do it quietly, not to wake everybody else up. that is probably still awake from all the copious amounts of recreational drugs being used. So I went through shit like that, but I didn't document it, dude. Maybe it's better for me. Like when I traveled through Asia, I misbehaved quite badly as well. But since there's no video evidence of it, it never happened, right? I mean, I always respected people, obviously, otherwise I would have been in jail. But yeah, I partied pretty fucking hard, man. I partied pretty fucking hard, but I didn't monetize it or inspire people to start partying hard when they're way too young or start gambling and stuff. I mean, cryptocurrency, that's basically educated gambling. And I've been in cryptocurrency for a very long time, but you don't see me talk about cryptocurrency and all the losses and gains that I've made. It would drive you guys nuts. So I'd rather just transfer all of the knowledge that I acquired over the, well, 25, 26 years of bodybuilding to you guys as some sort of legacy transfer. Because at one point I'll be done with this, and then hopefully you guys learn something in the meantime. But yeah, monetizing degeneracy, if it's like a movie of Idiocracy where it's just silly as fuck, or Wall-E, basically the same, right? They go to some sort of spaceship, they all get fat, they're riding around in those little buckets, which is very reminiscent of the little buckets that are being driven around, or scooters that are being driven around at Disney World and Disneyland. Not in Japan though. You don't see those fucking scooters in Disneyland Sea or Disney Land Japan. You don't see it there. You see it only in America. Disneyland Paris, no scooters. Disneyland Hong Kong and Shanghai, none of that. Only in Disney World and Disneyland. So that's what Wall-E was based on, and Idiocracies is based on how silly the Western world has become. And yeah, apparently that's monetizable. It's not what I grew up with. My dad always told me, if you want to do something, make sure you're best at it. Doesn't matter what you do. Just make sure that you set yourself apart from everybody else, and then don't turn it into a fuck fest. Figuratively speaking. Like, fuck fest is fine if you're young and single. Just make sure you use condoms. Because otherwise you catch something that you can't get rid of. So yeah, but that's the world we live in nowadays, dude. So you have to be very selective on the content that you consume. I don't watch it unless somebody sends it to me, or there's really a problem. Like, what's it called? John Skywalker had some issues, and then everybody sends it to me, and then oh, this is a funny story. Don't worry, we'll get back to the drug questions. We still got an hour left. William Lee, do you guys remember that? The little Vietnamese guy that would draw on his chest and start poking it, and then got very famous on Instagram and stuff, and TikTok. And then he went to Thailand and disappeared. And then a lot of people reached out to me, like, dude, what happened to William Lee? He was in Thailand, he disappeared. Would think that he got the same fate as Ziz or other influencers. And then I saw him at the gym this week. Yeah, just training away and looking good. So he appears to be doing well. Got a beautiful girlfriend to match. So William Lee is in good hands. And that guy monetized his shit pretty hard. It wasn't degenerative content. Of course, everybody accused him of taking steroids, but when I saw him, he just looked like just a lean Asian kid with not much thickness to him, which is what most naturals have. And they're lean, they're shredded, but there's zero thickness. So yeah, he did pretty good for himself. That was not degeneracy, but that's most other people coming to Thailand disappearing. Yeah, you know where they end up. All sinners go to Pattaya. What's the proper E2 to test ratio? So on TRT, let's say estradiol can be top of the reference range and testosterone can be super physiological, but it could be a 13-to-1 ratio based on a nanograms per deciliter to picograms per milliliter scale. But at one point, your estradiol will be too high, and then you get side effects like gyno, water retention, libido issues. And then you have to bring your estradiol down, even though your testosterone levels might want to come up. So there's no ideal ratio unless you're on TRT. And let's be honest, most guys are a little bit more than on TRT. These guys are snitching themselves out to showcasing the parties. Yeah. Yeah, but everybody parties, man. It's nothing new. It's nothing new. Augmented athletes. I feel like certain personalities hurt the idea of what biohackers are trying to do. Yeah. Yeah, if you have addictive personality disorder, then biohacking is not a good idea. Now, to be fair, I come from a family with addiction problems, and I can't stop taking performance enhancing drugs either. But the reason I keep doing blood work every month is just to shove it in my face so I can do performance enhancing drug experiments with some moderation. And as soon as I see a red flag, then you guys know that I pulled the plug. And again, like I alluded to earlier, probably when I see my daughter's face, I will have to make some hard changes, or I'll feel incentivized to make some hard changes. But up until now, with my health parameters decent, even though I might have a, well, let's say a PED addiction, I think I'm been doing okay so far. And at least I was able to monetize it, unlike so many people who are addicted. Like a rock star. They're all addicted to alcohol or cocaine and stuff, and then they become creative and they monetize the shit out of it to fuel their alcohol and cocaine addiction. Hmm. Introspection. Now we'll see how this all ends up. Well, I think 600 tests and some YK11 and a little bit of growth hormone on top. I think that's pretty moderate. Certainly not 5 grams of gear and 18 IUs of growth hormone. And even Chase is doing absolutely fantastic on protocols like that. So, race to the bottom. Yeah, that seems what it is, though. I met a few of them at the Mr. Olympia. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, I can't believe how much money you're making for what you have an offer. But I guess, yeah, what is it? Maybe that's what people want to see nowadays, just degeneracy. P5P 3 times, 300 milligrams twice a day. Well, I think 100 milligrams 2 times, 3 times per day is enough. So 200 milligrams to 300 milligrams total. That's more than enough to help with dopamine synthesis, um, and bring down prolactin. So if you take, I think even 25 milligrams vitamin B6 P5P with 1,000 milligrams L-tyrosine 2, 3, 4 times per day. So that's 100 milligrams vitamin B6 P5P in total. Again, with maybe 4,000 milligrams L-tyrosine over the day, that will bring your dopamine levels up more than enough and keep your motivation going to bring your prolactin levels down, and then get the boners raging again. But yeah, a good suggestion nonetheless. Yes, blood work and sensible titration of compounds, or just drop them if needed. Master lowers my E2O, so I drop it if labs say so. Yeah, that's the way to do it, man. I don't like cocaine, just like the smell. Yeah. Well, it depends on if the benzene is still in there, right? At least give it to me dried. If it smells like butthole, then you know it's fresh. At the Mr. Olympia, a lot of guys are on cocaine. You didn't hear that from me, though. Brad Morgan, what kind of therapies would you recommend alongside 1 milligrams BPC-157 and TB-500 every day for crushed discs in spine? I want you to go back to the timestamps once they're released and go back to the guys where I talk about herniation. So it's not going to do anything for crushed spine herniation. These peptides are not magic. You have a structural issue, you need structural intervention, not healing peptides. So once the peptide is done, I go into depth a little bit earlier on, wait until the timestamps are there, and then just look at the parts or discuss herniation, and then you'll get all the answers that you're looking for. We're not going to do it 2 times or 3 times in the chat. This test use might be activating the carnosine beta alanine pathway. Yeah, maybe. I think it's synthetic carrier oils. I do daily micro injections of testosterone in the morning. What time should I get my blood work done? And I usually do it 24 hours afterwards, because if you inject it daily micro administrations, it's not going to affect your testosterone levels that much. But if you like consistently, just pin and go to the lab and get it tested. I'm gonna go do a quick bathroom break and blow my nose. No cocaine inhalations. Nothing on camera. No evidence. But I will be gone for a minute. Bathroom break. Be right back. Broskies. Man, it's so many bees. I'll be right back. And we're muted. All right, and we're back. Man, the amount of stuff that came out of my nose wasn't pretty. Shit break. Now that takes a little bit longer. Smash the like button. No, man, too much effort. I would love to see a setup home office tour. There's nothing here. There's this wall and some lights around it. These are lights. Actually, I'm not wearing correct pants for, for full body shots. I got two studio lights here, and that's pretty much it. Air conditioning there, some trash. This will be turned into a baby room eventually, and then I have no idea where I'm going to record, unless I want to buy a new house. But with the real estate market right now, it's probably better to wait 2 or 3 more years. So no, this is just some room. Can't take this off because then the wires will fuck up. So yeah, don't expect too much from this setup. This is not my office. It's just a recording studio. What's your opinion on choline? Yeah, it's a great nootropic. It's alpha GPC, particularly. I tried CDB choline, didn't do as much as alpha GPC. Um, what is it called? Uridine 5-monophosphate helps with choline. That's pretty good, especially in combination with alpha GPC. And they have Huperzine A, which prevents the breakdown of choline. So that stack is already great. And then you throw a couple other nootropics on top, like Cana and stuff. And then you might as well go with Gorilla Mind Respawn. You get everything in one go. You take one scoop or 1.5 scoop, a little bit of caffeine in there, and you're good to go for 2.5 hours, bro. Your thoughts on DHB? I have a deep dive on that. I reviewed two studies. The two studies are based on DHB, and I came to the conclusion, in combination with all of the anecdotal experience, that it's not worth it. But some people swear by it, so try it. Well, you have to buy it before you try it, but try it first, and then make up your own mind. But it might cause inflammation, and it might cause severe increase in liver markers, and for me, that's not worth it because anabolic should be mild on your health parameters, so you can ramp up the dose so you can make phenomenal gains. That's why you have test and pre and bowling, baby. Could anavar in the absence of growth hormone be an effective means to heal a pec tendon? Yes, it's better than nothing, but a combination of anavar, growth hormone, TB-500, BPC-157, GHK copper, and micronized progesterone, as well as collagen type 1, 2, and 3 peptides and hyaluronic acid and vitamin C, that would be a much better approach. So watch the Operation Gyno video, the latest one that I dropped, and that way you get all of the healing, enhancing medications and methods and protocols in a single video. Let's see what else is there. Do you think it's possible for the likes of tirzepatide and semaglutide to increase the half-life of oral medications like steroids? As far as I know, these kinds of peptides do not impair or speed up metabolism of any kind of medication and steroids. But it's been a while since I researched them. I will do a rituximab deep dive and maybe go through that. I mean, oral medications might have slower gastric emptying because tirzepatide, semaglutide, rituximab, etc., slow gastric emptying. And if you have slower gastric emptying, it slows the absorption of this oral medication and increases its active life. But then serum concentration will be lower because it's stretched out over a longer period of time. So instead of having a peak in serum like this, it's now stretched. So that could potentially be, but injectable steroids or oral steroids, it's probably not going to make that much of a difference, man. I never really noticed anything, and I took copious amounts of liraglutide, tirzepatide, and rituximab, and all the medications and steroids and other oral stuff that I took just worked exactly the same as I expected. Varo, what's up, bro? Can aldosterone increase significantly and cause only ankle edema during a rebound after a hard cut? Yeah, it could be aldosterone, but it's very likely that it's just mineral and glycogen and fluid retention. And that can cause rebound when you start eating like a butthole. So it's not just aldosterone, baby. It's also your diet. I was on 1 gram of test during my cut, had no estrogen issues or water retention issues at all. Yeah, so if you're cutting, you're obviously eating very healthy and clean and very consistent. And then if you have a rebound and you start eating like a butthole, then you get edema. It's not just aldosterone, bro. It's not just aldosterone. So if you suspect aldosterone, then go to the pharmacy and buy some aldactone, 25 milligrams morning and evening, and the water retention should be gone in 3 days. After that, it starts to block the androgen receptor a little bit too much, and you get anti-anabolic properties or anti-androgenic properties. So 3 days, aldactone, 50 milligrams per day, split morning and evening, 25 milligrams per serving, and then the water should be gone, assuming that you also eat healthy. And but we all go through this, man. You should see my ankles after the first couple of diets that I did. Disgusting. Have you read into NA931? It's a quadruple receptor agonist targeting IGF-1, GLP-1, GAP, and glucagon. No, I've never heard about that. We'll definitely do some research because who doesn't like quadruple receptor agonism, especially if it's IGF-1, glucagon, GLP-1, and GAP, because that might actually prevent some sort of muscle loss or have some anabolic effect. Yeah. Is it available anywhere? NA931. Bioglutide. They put like a fat, chunky man with sports clothes on the fucking front page. What the fuck? Bro. Bioglutide has been developed for chronic weight management in adults with a body mass index over 30. Oh, that's me. That's me. Prescribe it to me, bro. I'll have to look into this. This looks pretty promising. I'm sure one of my affiliates will start having it very, very soon if it works really well. Let's see. What are your anabolic preferences? What if you don't have any preferences and you just want to use all of them? I want all, and I want it now. They'll really be adding as many things as possible to make it better than the last receptor agonist. Dude, after semaglutide took off, they're all on board, man. Look at the stock. Look at the stocks. That's all you need to do. Don't look at the Disney stock, but look at the pharmaceutical companies that have GLP-1 receptor agonists on their product list. They all want a piece of it, man. People are fat and lazy. And just because bodybuilders use it to get shredded, okay, sure, totally fine. But you should be able to get at least 200 pounds off without these GLP-1 receptor agonists. Like if you want to go from a fucking 10% body fat down to 6% and you struggle really hard and it affects your productivity and your mood and that kind of stuff, sure. Sure, but going from 400 pounds to 200 pounds, you don't need a GLP-1 for that. Unless you have, some sort of food addiction, then these medications are a godsend. So, but yeah, the large majority of the people that use these kinds of medications do it under medical supervision, and they're obese beyond belief, not trying to get shredded in the fitness space. It's only a small percentage of the people that are using it. And of course, we get it from gray area peptide websites, not through the pharmaceutical route. So it's not increasing the value of the stock. It's just increasing the value of the gray area peptide website and the affiliates that are on board, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because then we can keep producing content for you guys, for you to enjoy and make better decisions with. You're welcome. The rebound is 1,000 grams of carbs for 3 days, very clean, no fats, a clean diet afterwards. I went in for bloods today to make sure. Yeah, maybe that's 1,000 grams of carbs is also too much. Maybe you should have done 500 grams of carbs. If you just need 1,000 grams of carbs to fill out over 3 days, but you do 1,000 grams of carbs every single day for a total of 3,000 carbs, then you got 2,000 grams of carbs spilling over into adipose tissue, making you retain copious amounts of water. So next time, fill out a little bit slower and don't go so aggressive. Even if it's clean, doesn't mean you need that much. And if you took insulin, then well, yeah, it might exacerbate the whole thing. All right, you guys are talking amongst yourself. Jagrit, cruising on a total of 150 milligrams testosterone cypionate, 100 milligrams masteron, 100 milligrams split into 2 doses weekly. Okay, is this something that can be run for long term and would actually be better than outright blasting gear? Well, for 150 tests and 100 milligrams masteron, a total of 250 milligrams per week, you get results of 250 milligrams. And that means that a lower dose for a longer period of time is more sustainable because it affects your health parameters less. But if you want to get bodybuilder size, then you probably need double that to 4 times that, or maybe even 8 times that. Unfortunately. And doesn't mean you have to go from 250 steroids to 2,000 milligrams steroids. Start low, this is a good low starting point, and build your way up. You could be on the cycle for 4 months and then go to let's say 225 tests and 200 masteron, for example. Do that for 4 months and then go to 350 tests and 350 masteron, for example, for 4 months, and just make gains progressively, right? When you stop making gains and the food is not making you gain any strength, just making you fatter, increase the drugs. I explained this in the step-by-step cycle design. Start low, build your way up based on your needs. Yeah, but 150 tests and 100 milligrams masteron per week, assuming you don't have any issues with hair loss, I would say that that's pretty sustainable. Yeah. King David, I would think most people that are 400 pounds have had some sort of form of food addiction. Yeah, you would think so. But if you set your mind to it, you should. I mean, we see it on Instagram all the time, right? People make some dramatic transformation, even before these kinds of medications were available. You just have to set your mind to it. But if you have serious food addictions and food problems and you always want to eat, then yes, these medications are a godsend. And they might actually save your life, because if you keep eating yourself keep eating like that, where you ended up 400 pounds, and you probably end up 600 pounds, and then before you know it, you can't even breathe because of all the fat on your body, and then you look like the blob. Gasols, have you seen anyone megadose DHA to raise their estradiol while using estradiol lowering compounds? What's the highest you've seen someone run DHA with low testosterone, and what was their estradiol levels like? No, never talked to anybody doing something silly like that and never recommended it. So if your estradiol levels are low, instead of megadosing DHA to bring your estradiol levels up, use HCG to produce estradiol directly in the testicles. And then your estradiol doesn't, it can be inhibited by, the conversion of testosterone to estradiol within the testicles can be inhibited from estradiol lowering compounds like primobolan, equipoise, mastestrone, YK11 potentially, or other aromatase inhibitors, because they can't enter the testicles. So whatever HCG you take, whatever estradiol it produces, it exits the testicles into the bloodstream, and now your serum estradiol levels go up. So instead of DHA, look into HCG. Greg Evans, what were your results from DC training? I got great results. I learned how to train intensely, like real intensity from DC training. And I also got very sore joints. I didn't get injured, luckily, but man, by the end of, I think, 4 weeks or 6 weeks, I did it natural, by the way. My joints were on fire, dude. Fuck me. Fuck me. And it's not like Winstrol or YK11 or other kinds of joint drying out compounds. This just literally felt like you've been hitting your elbow against the wall, and it's like completely fucked and inflamed. And it hurts to bend. Whereas with Winstrol and YK11, after a while, it starts to feel creaky and compromised. With DC training, if you do it right, and you do all those heavy sets to failure, oh my God, dude. Yeah, but that DC training taught me how to train like a fucking animal. Yeah, and dive deep into emotional traumas and use that as fuel to fuel my sets to failure. Good stuff. Yeah, therapy, man. Plugging up again. We're gonna go 5 more minutes, and then it's time to throw in the towel. I'm sitting here in the air conditioning blasting in my eye. It's not a good idea. Let's see what else is fun to answer. Dosages for somebody with a decent natty physique and wants some super physiological deltoids. 40 pounds. Dumbbell raises. Come on, man. If you want to stay natty, stay natty. Did you ever try Grillamine Shroom? Yeah, I tried it a couple times. Again, I have new peptide dihexa, and then, the cerebral and some and stuff. But yeah, Derek sent me a bottle. I tried Grillamine Shroom. I think I finished about half a bottle. I did like it, but I did not like it as much as dihexa, bromantane, that kind of stuff. And so it just sits there. And I haven't really had an incentive to take it because I get more out of these gray area peptides less medications than I got out of Grillamine Shroom. But it's like if you don't have so much experience with nootropics, or you get a really good result, and I think it's a great nootropic aid to get started with, I do prefer Grillamine Respawn over Grillamine Shroom. Like Grillamine Respawn, I went through fucking boxes of that shit. Remember the first time I took it, I called Derek, I sent him a voicemail. He said, dude, what the fuck, man? You've struck gold. Like just like Grillamine Nitric. It's reformulated now. I still have to give that new formulation a try. It just arrived. But I remember I sent him a voicemail and said, dude, this is like over-the-counter Adderall or something similar, where you feel a little bit euphoric and good, and everything is making sense while you're doing deep work. You get the memory recollection and then the verbal fluency and the motivation to work longer, all in a single serving. So Respawn is like the best formula on the market, hands down, just like Grillamine Energy. Grillamine Shroom, I enjoyed it, but compared to other stuff like Respawn or other gray area peptides or medications, it doesn't really come close. But some guys swear by it. You know, some guys swear by cordyceps, some guys swear by reishi mushroom extract or other kinds of mushroom extracts. And you'll never know until you try. So buy a bottle, you use a discount or wait for, well, it's end of the year, right? Black Friday sales where you get like 40% off or something crazy like that. Um, or if you know somebody, just ask for a couple samples. You know, I have people here in Thailand that want to try it before they buy it. And I just give them like the 10 capsules of my own supply. And then they try it. And then if you want to buy it, they have to go through the lengthy importation process. Um, but at least then they know if it's going to work or not. So I liked it, but not enough to finish a whole bottle. But Gorilla Mind Respawn, and I probably went through 30 of those fucking bottles already. Yeah, Gorilla Mind Respawn is my jazz. All right, let's start with the banner. No more super chats. Yeah, it's right there. And we'll do 2 more. 3 days, side and rear delt day. Yeah, exactly. If you're natty, just do more rear delt workouts. I love that answer, Steve. I learned from you that the right way is to titrate up. That's my current stack. I missed adding in Primo, so it's okay. 150 tests, 100 milligrams Master, 100 milligrams of Primo, but blood work markers are great. I think that's pretty sustainable. 350 milligrams of steroids, assuming you eat healthy, you train hard, and you use some over-the-counter supplements to keep your blood work parameters in range. I think that's good. And then the next step would be, I don't know, 200 tests, 150 Mass, 150 Primo, for example. That's 150 milligrams more, or maybe 225 tests, 200 Mass, 200 Primo, for example. Right? And you just keep titrating up as you get bigger. Start low, build your way up, and once the blood work parameters are not so good anymore, then you have a limited window of opportunity to make gains while you know in your heart and proven with blood work that your health is kind of declining. And then when you're not comfortable with your blood work results, then you go back to this protocol where your blood work results will be good 2 or 3 months later again. What's a good blood pressure reading on 200 tests and 100 milligrams Deca? When I use growth hormone per day, I'm getting 160/90. That's way too high. I do sauna and endurance strength training. I count that as cardio. Okay, so carditone, daily fasted cardio, taurine, magnesium, consistent sodium intake. Maybe you're dumping too much sodium in the sauna and your endurance strength training. So maybe your sodium levels are very, very low, and that causes temporary sodium retention by having your aldosterone levels very, very high, resulting in high blood pressure. And otherwise, just telmisartan, enalapril, or beta blockers like nebivolol. So multiple angles to address this, but this blood pressure way too high, and it has nothing to do with your test and DECA and growth hormone dose. It has to do with your lifestyle, right? So make the adjustments and then take it from there. All right, guys, and let's throw in the towel because I'm getting super stuffy. And it's tomorrow I have to go watch Captain America Brave New World. So wish me luck. Wish me luck, guys. Me and my wife were looking at the lineup. It's like, oh, there's really nothing to watch. Okay, we'll go watch the new Captain America movie. So next week we can watch Critical Drinker and all these review channels tear it apart. And then at least I'll have a good week on YouTube next week. So yeah, I got him. Sorry for you, Steve. Yeah. Yeah, luckily it's only 2 hours. And I'm sure I can find some nice popcorn, which is it's not prohibited on my food sensitivity test. So maybe if I can get some popcorn and some fruits, then I'll enjoy myself during the movie. And otherwise, you just take a 2-hour nap. That's not the end of the world either. I'll bring my earplugs just in case, and just wake up for the Red Hulk scene, and this is in it for 7 minutes or something. Okay, guys, this was the live stream all super sick. So yeah, next week will probably not be a video because we'll need a little bit longer to edit the How to Get Your Partner Pregnant, but I'll be working on the deep dives nonetheless, so we have some more consistent updates. But yeah, the How to Get Your Partner Pregnant video was very intensive to make, but it will be a good one in case you're interested in watching it. All right, I'll leave it here. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you guys next weekend with another Vigorous Q&A discussing all kinds of PDs and then some. Peace out.